Hello, Barmy Badger Army.
Hey, Badger Army.
Welcome to today's show. Yes, it is a slightly chilly but yet sunny day in Essex. And of course I have my lovely co-host with me, Mr. Nick.
Well, hello there.
Welcome to On the Bench. Today we're going to be talking about...
Time to Talk Day.
And Kirk Douglas.
Kirk Douglas with
Kirk,
a K.
With a K. And lots of other bits and pieces that you guys have asked us to talk about. And let's start off, Nick. So you want to talk about Time to Talk Day. This is something you've just suggested to me right now.
Indeed. Time to Talk Day, which at the time of filming this is today. And it's aimed at raising awareness of mental health in the workplace.
Which is very interesting. Yes. Oh, it's specifically the workplace. That's interesting.
Eroding stigma, which is something we can all get behind.
Most definitely, I think so.
So yeah, it's like having, a cup of tea conversation.
That's cool.
So it's things like that. I think a lot of the time, we find it difficult to bring up these kinds of issues at work for various reasons. It's like, there's whether there's because there's so much going on.
That's right.
Or is what we're doing causing kind of like mental health problems.
Yeah, so there's this big thing, isn't there, about like, is what you're doing causing it? Is it the job and things like that? And people are very I've noticed over the years, obviously working in different sectors and things like that, over the years people seem to be less open about their life and things like that. And I do feel that has something to do with it. Not as many people are ready to talk to each other, and everyone sort of buries themselves in their phones and just sort of hides away from like wanting to talk and express themselves and enjoy each other's company and things like that. I mean, I remember when I first started work donkeys years ago, I used to be technically the entertainment officer, believe it or not.
He still is.
I am. And that's where we basically end up doing these things where we would organise days out together, we would go all to the cinema together, we'd do all these different things, and we would organise at least 2 trips out a month, believe it or not, 2 trips out a month, Nick, out to different occasions and different things to let loose and talk and have fun. And, sometimes we don't even get a summer party like we used to. So, I think these things, and obviously Christmas parties are hard to arrange, blah, blah, blah. So it's really hard to even get to do those things.
I think it can often depend on people's outside commitments as well.
Exactly,
so,
yeah.
You're not always going to be able to guarantee that everyone's going to be able to arrange time.
This is it, and obviously I think that life has got harder in general. The past 20 years, I think, yes, the world has obviously got better in lots and lots of different things, but I think it's also got harder to arrange and do different things with people. And I think there's so much pressure on people, there's so many things going on all the time now, that these things have actually made it harder for people to let loose and relax.
So yeah, there is a On Time to Talk's website. It encourages people to have arrange events and things like that.
See, this is what I'm saying. Yeah, these things I think are lacking in society, definitely.
And I think, part of me wonders whether some employers might find that difficult to do because of what they might get told by their employees.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But I do still see it as a positive step forward. I think mental health problems are caused by all sorts of things, and they take all kinds of forms. Obviously depression and anxiety are common.
Number 2, isn't it? Number 2.
I mean, I've spoken a lot about being on the autism spectrum, although autism isn't strictly a mental health problem. It's actually classified as a developmental disability. So all the people who I've had various people try and talk to me about how they've had depression in the hope that it's some kind of equalizer. It's not belittling depression in any way, shape or form, but sometimes they're the kind of people who will suddenly turn around and make conversations about themselves all of a sudden. But I think...
So do you think that let's rewind back a bit then on that comment. So they've got autism.
I bring it up in conversation.
Oh, okay, right.
Because I'm very open about my condition. And I feel
of course you are.
It's good to be open about your condition.
Oh, okay.
I also have a lot of anxiety issues as well.
Okay, yeah. I thought you were going to say that they've got autism and they were hoping they would get depression to sort of calm it down.
No, they do it kind of like to try and flip a conversation about them and
Okay.
try and equalise themselves with it as well. Largely.
I do think that is a I know. I don't know why that is a thing with modern society, isn't it? It's like, oh, you've got this, so I've got this wrong with me too. You don't need to do that. I mean, I'm probably a bit of a victim of that myself. I know my auntie used to do that as well. It's like, it's just an instant way to carry on a conversation. But I think maybe we need to find different ways. It's not all about what's wrong with me and who's wrong with that. And I think that actually brings out more negativity, because everyone is miserable for their own reasons, obviously. And I was talking about this with somebody the other day. In the 90s, everyone's had such hope for the world and everyone was looking forward to now. And now we've got to now, everyone's miserable. Everyone needs to talk and enjoy themselves and express themselves a bit more, I feel. So what else is time to talk about then, Nick?
I think it's generally raising awareness of. I think it's just generally raising awareness of some problems that you might have. It's a good opportunity to say, actually, honestly, I find such and such a bit of a struggle.
Exactly, I think that's important to be able to do that sort of thing. I think you need to be open about these things. Obviously, don't put yourself in a position where you're going to get yourself in trouble at work. Obviously, talk to someone that you definitely trust, talk to a counsellor, things like that. Don't go blurting it out to all and sundry. Obviously, find the appropriate person to talk to first, yes.
So, yeah, I think I would say, use it as an opportunity just to talk about how things are going, and just maybe take some time out from your day to just think to yourself, is there what can I work on, how can I help others, how can we just make this generally a better place to work,
Exactly.
Things like meditation and yoga, which lots of people like to go for, they are very good. I would say, I would never discourage anyone from using those. But I do think, just the whole being open about problems that you have in the workplace, whatever that might allude to, it's going to be different for everyone. I think, take positive steps forward. And I think, the whole reason that we have days like these and the reason they still happen, it's not simply for, so magazines can create content and
exactly.
TV shows can have content. It's also so it's a time when you can specifically focus on one thing, because there's so many others. We have whole other days devoted to various diseases and things like that.
Pancake Day soon too.
Indeed, and and I think you've really just got to look. And it's just what a chance where we have like one specific time to focus on things, and maybe even if not do something about them, then make steps towards doing things about
That's
them.
right, which is a good step forward, isn't it?
There's a lot to be said for making steps towards things.
Most definitely. Now, I think that's fantastic advice there, Nick, because I think if you're not ready to take the plunge in dealing with the problem 100%, which I wouldn't recommend anyway, because you could crash and burn, I think you could obviously make milestones, as I like to call
Indeed.
them, little bits to get yourself where you need to get, because there's no rush. As long as you feel comfortable in what you're doing and how you're doing it, that's fine. It's different for every single person, but I would definitely think if you have anxiety or depression or any sort of other mental health issues, you should if you can feel comfortable with it, make little tiny steps towards it. And like we were saying, these days are perfect for it. And I find these on the benches are twofold. You guys get content, we have fun, and we get to have our chat, just like this.
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
it's fantastic. So it's very cathartic for us too as well. Because, what you might think is like, obviously we're around busy staff room, things like that. With this, we get to spend some one-on-one bro time.
Indeed.
I mean, that's very helpful and relaxing. Nick's got his piece of cake. I do not have a cup of tea this time, unfortunately. But yes, okay, show the cake, dear.
It's half eaten because it's just too good.
It is a nice cake. But yes,
Happy birthday, Georgina.
Happy birthday, Georgina. Right, okay. So now we are going to talk about that. And that's enough about that. But I want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget, we're premiering this, guys. So feel free, join in the conversation. Talk to us about whatever you feel comfortable with. And if you don't, let's talk about some other bits and pieces like movies, films, games, things like that, whilst the stream's going on. Right, so Nick, what else are we going to be talking about?
Well, it was announced earlier this week that Kirk Douglas, famous actor, sadly passed away earlier this week at the age of 103.
Wow, that is insane.
That's even older than the Queen Mother.
Wow.
She was 101 when she passed away, Lord rest her soul.
He's definitely going to get his letter at some point. He must have actually got his letter, mustn't he?
Yeah, it's when you turn 100. But I would say, I mean, the thing is, I mean, he was largely working like well into his 90s and stuff like that.
That's insane, isn't it? Yeah, he was very busy, wasn't he? He worked a lot. And, you know, he was famous for lots of old school films and obviously a pioneering force in Hollywood. It was insane how many films he did, a really big influence that changed the industry. And obviously his son, you know, did really well as well. Michael Douglas did really well and is still going and doing lots of different films and obviously a very famous person in his own right. I mean, obviously he mainly shot to fame in the 80s, you know, with lots of comedies and lots of different things like that. Do you remember some of your favourite Michael Douglas films?
Michael Douglas films. I remember for A-level media studies back in the day, we studied Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction, wow.
Indeed.
Very shocking. I remember that was very famous for all the different reasons.
Yes.
And some wrong reasons too.
Yes.
I mean, the whole Sharon Stone chair leg flip thing was
Basic
insane.
Instinct.
Oh, Basic Instinct.
That was Basic Instinct. It's thanks to the film Fatal Attraction that we have the term bunny boiler.
Yes,
That's
it is.
yes,
saying. That's all you're saying. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it. You're right there, Nick. What other films were he in? Like The Jewel in the Crown? Am I correct?
There was loads of them. And Kirk and his dad, Kirk Douglas, was, well, there's just too many of them to name.
Yeah, it's insane.
But it was, but yeah, you know, when you consider the sort of like long charted career that he had, you know, full credit to the guy. I mean, 103 is a good innings.
That is a very good innings. I hope I can make to 103.
And his you know, and the work that he did is an even better innings.
That's right, yeah, and in fact, you know, it's those sorts of things. If you think about the lasting, like I was saying, the lasting thing that he's done in the media industry, I think it's great. Also, people do want us to touch upon some really sensitive topics, so like the bushfire in Australia and the coronavirus. Terrible things. And, you know, we were discussing this, and we don't really know how to do it yet, but we are going to do an article on it soon. But all I would say is we're really sad about all the different things that have happened, and please be careful of misinformation.
Exactly.
And things like that. Please be careful.
Be aware of media, of the way it's reported as well.
This is true, yeah.
You know, I mean, we've had it before. We had it with Ebola a few years ago. Some of us will remember the SARS virus from the early noughties.
SARS. Yeah,
which was I think from a similar part of the world. I think it was from Asia. But yes, and other thing I'll say is, if an East Asian person sneezes, don't just assume that they've obviously got the coronavirus.
Exactly. And I will top that and say, if anyone sneezes,
Indeed.
Because I know that how easy it is for panic and things like that to set in. You know, I wouldn't even like to put a number on it, but 9 times out of 10, it's probably just a cold. Relax. Don't dip into sort of media frenzy. This will happen. There will start being articles in the newspaper saying...
And the odds of it becoming like a major pandemic is very, very low.
Yeah. Honestly, there's reports of it being in Scotland, reports of it maybe reaching the UK.
There's various people who've been quarantined, but they've all like been to China, I think.
Exactly, and obviously I'll be talking about the influencer that was eating bat soup and things like that on Comedy News. I don't know why you would do that, but apparently that was wild, it was all fresh, and she did it to be controversial, so I'll be talking about that as a separate topic. Anyway, is there anything else you would like to talk about, Nick?
I think we've pretty much covered the majority of it.
That's right. I mean,
It has been the Chinese New Year, which I don't think we acknowledged last week. So
No,
happy
that's right.
Chinese New Year to everyone.
And of course, obviously, I had a lovely Burns night. If you wondered, that was fantastic.
I had
some lovely
burnout night.
burnout night. Bless you. I know you did. I'll actually make up for you and tell you that I had a smashing time. So it was definitely flip-sided. And I did phone him and say, "You all right, mate? Come round mine for a beer," didn't I?
Yeah,
Do you remember?
I was actually en route to a friend's birthday party at the time. So
Yeah,
I got back from my burnout.
Yeah, which was great. Yeah. So I had a burn up, and you had a burn down.
Yes.
So, but you know, it's important if you feel that some of your friends are a bit low, and you see that, and visibly on social media they seem that they are a bit low. It doesn't take long to throw them a text or phone them. So make sure, going back to what we were talking about before, if you see that some of your friends are a bit knackered and a bit tired and maybe not their mental health best, give them a phone call. It doesn't cost much.
Indeed. And it doesn't even have to be time to talk day.
Exactly. And you might actually save someone's life. It sounds lame, but it's 100% true. But yes, indeed. And also, I'm going to talk about something else completely different while we're here. Everyone was asking me, "So, Mr. Badger, what games are you looking forward to in 2020? Well, now we have PlayStation Now, we've got access to thousands of games. So hopefully by month basis, we'll be able to keep it and we'll be able to access all sorts of games. So what games am I looking forward to? Anything I can get my hands on from a massive database of games. But yes, there is one particular game that stands out. One game that Voice Legend has told me about that I keep forgetting the name of, that I'm going to try and pick up.
It's got one of those funny names, hasn't it?
It has got one of those funny names, and I can't remember it. Wild Hearts or something like that. I'm really looking forward to that. Also, there's Streets of Rage 4. So that is the 100% game I'm looking forward to this year. Bang on. I cannot wait for it. It is going to be a banger, as it were, as the modern kids say. It is going to be awesome. We've waited something stupid like 20 years for this game. I am looking forward to it wholeheartedly. I cannot tell you enough how much I'm looking forward to Streets of Rage 4. Few reasons. Badass beat 'em up. Old school action. Really cool graphics. Really cool sound. Sega back to its prime. Yes, please. What about you, Nick? Are you looking forward to anything else? Obviously, we talked about Sonic the other week. What other films are we looking forward to? Because everyone was like, just Sonic? Come on, there's more. Surely.
Yeah, what else is coming out this year?
I know that everyone's hyped over Disney Plus. Let me know about that. What are you looking forward to in films and on Disney Plus and things like that? Do you think I should get Disney Plus? Let me know in the comments. Let's start up a conversation about what you would like to get. Let me know. Do you think Netflix is worth it still? Is Now TV a waste of money? Let me know and we'll chat about it. Right, thanks very much for watching, guys. Look after yourselves. Keep safe. Keep well. Much love, everyone. Thank you for all the support. And if you're watching this back, thank you very much. And if you've joined in the conversation on the premiere, thank you very much too. Don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe. Much love from me.
And him and me.
And you. Bye!